Okay. All right, so we'll find a comfortable seated position to start out our practice today. And this is going to be a gentle yoga and meditation and breathing practice. However, I just want to remind you to please be respectful of your body. If anything doesn't work for you, then just go ahead and sit it out. Sometimes we'll be lifting the arms overhead. If that brings tension in your neck, you can just leave them on your hips. So you want to adapt and listen to your body today is the biggest thing I would like to request. You can always just return to connecting to the breath, which is how we're going to start out the practice today. But you can start out, I suggest sitting on something. If you happen to have a meditation cushion, those work perfectly. Otherwise, if you have a blanket or perhaps a pillow, something that'll prop you up a little bit, bringing the pelvis up and tilting the hips forward. If this isn't accessible for you, you can also take a kneeling position, perhaps kneeling, and you can actually sit. You can kneel with a blanket behind the knees, or perhaps a pillow between the legs, however you need to sit to make yourselves comfortable, because we are going to be seated for a good portion of the practice today. And feel welcome to change too, and I'm going to do that too. Actually, I'll start out kneeling, I think, and then I'm going to change to a cross-legged position. I invite you to do the same also. So just finding a comfortable seated position. You can go ahead and close the eyes and sensing that shift inward as you just notice the thoughts that are present today. Noticing the sensations that are present in the body. Just beginning to connect with the breath. And you can go ahead and place one hand on the belly and one hand on the chest at the area of the heart. Perhaps feeling a little deeper connection to the breath. And sensing that space that's created with the inhalation. And something that letting go sensation, that release with the exhalation. And perhaps with each exhalation, just having that idea of just letting go of the day, letting go of anything that's not serving you right now. And allowing the exhalation to extend just a little bit longer, just lengthening out the exhalation. You can even gently constrict the throat using that ujjayi breath if you'd like, kind of like if you're fogging up a window. That helps to extend that exhalation. And now bringing the attention to the area of the heart. You might even feel the heart beating beneath one of the hands. And perhaps being open to any intention that you might have for this time today. And perhaps bringing that to mind in a first person present tense form. Something such as, I am healthy, whole, and complete. Or perhaps, I'm doing the best that I can in this moment. Or perhaps a universal intention, such as, we're all doing the best that we know how to at this time. Just whatever feels right for you, and sensing that intention is fully true in this moment. And as you're ready, you can release the hands perhaps down to the thighs. You can stay in whichever position you're in, or you can switch if you'd like. You can open the eyes or just keeping that soft gaze. You can close the eyes for as much of the practice as you would like to today, just being safe about it if your eyes are closed, especially if you're in a chair. And we're going to start out with some movements and thinking about just kind of connecting the movement with the breath. So you can go ahead and place the hands on the thighs. And we're going to start out with just opening up the spine. So as you exhale, we'll go ahead and bring the left shoulder towards the right knee and then sweeping the torso around so that the right shoulder comes towards the left knee. And just circling the torso around your center of gravity. Just keeping in mind slow, purposeful movements today, and just sensing, noticing all the sensations in the body and being gentle with the body today. And you can change directions if you haven't yet, going the other way. And then coming back up to a tall seated position, we'll do some side stretches here. So you can go ahead and drop the right hand either towards the ground or the chair, sweeping the left arm up high overhead. And then we'll go ahead and you just make this a flow with your breath. Going to the other side, dropping the left arm to the ground as the right arm sweeps overhead. Just moving the arms in opposition of each other, gently stretching out the body here. You can let the breath lead the movement here. So perhaps on each inhalation, rising up, and then each exhalation, stretching over. And last one here, coming back up to seated, and we'll do some shoulder rolls. So as you inhale, you'll bring the shoulders together and up towards the ears. And as you exhale, pulling the shoulder blades together in the back as the shoulders come down towards the ground. Inhale, shoulders coming up towards the ears. Exhale, pulling the shoulder blades together in the back. And changing directions. So now going forward. And we'll go ahead and bring the arms into the movement now. So going backwards again, but now we'll bring in the elbows and the wrists. You can kind of think about maybe kneading a really big ball of dough or perhaps rowing, that type of motion. Slowly here, opening up the chest, the shoulder girdle, and then you can change directions going the other way. So like you're switching your oars. And then releasing the arms down. We'll do some rotations of the elbows now. This is actually going to connect all the way up into our neck. So we're going to start on the right side. And as we do this, you can bring the left ear, shoulder, or the left ear towards the left shoulder if you'd like to. Just kind of feeling that stretch up the right side of the neck. You go ahead and sweep the thumb across and just circling around. Keeping the fingers spread wide. When we spread the fingers wide, it stretches the fascia. So you get that connection all the way from the fingers and the hands and the forearms, all the way up into the neck. And then changing directions. And releasing that arm, you can just kind of shake that arm out. And we'll switch over to the other side. So now we're doing the left arm, and you can bring the right ear towards the right shoulder and sweeping that right thumb across and around like you're kind of like you're hailing a cab. And then you can flip the hand when you get around there so that the thumb continues to lead the movement, and spreading those fingers nice and wide. And then changing direction so the pinky leads. And then you can release that arm and go ahead and shake that left arm out. All right, and we're gonna go ahead and do a little, actually we'll do a little more stretching of the neck. So go ahead and inhale the arms up overhead on the inhalation. You can lift the gaze upward. And as you exhale, pulling the elbows in towards the rib cage as you tuck the chin in towards the chest and extending the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. Feeling that stretch in the back of the neck. You can release the arms. We'll inhale the arms up overhead again, lifting the gaze upward. And as you exhale, pulling those elbows in towards the rib cage, tucking the chin in towards the chest, feeling the stretch up the neck. Releasing the arms. We'll do one more. Inhaling the arms up overhead. Exhale, pulling those elbows in towards the rib cage and tucking the chin in towards the chest. And then we'll go ahead and keeping the shoulder blades kind of together, how they're just releasing the arms down, but keeping that extension of the cervical spine. We'll start to do some gentle rotations of the neck here, gentle rolls, whatever works for you and for your neck today. It could be just gently rolling the chin back and forth across the chest here. And then coming back to a neutral spine. And we're going to stretch out the muscles of the jaw and the face. So we're going to open the mouth wide, stick out the tongue. Eyes are going to be wide, and you can even make a noise with this one. So it'll look like this. We go, ah, feeling that stretching of all the face and the jaw, making that noise if you'd like to. And then you can release. We'll do that 3 times. So, ah. Release. Again. Ah. Release. Ah. Last one. Ah. Just doing that autophonation can kind of help to stimulate that vagus nerve and the parasympathetic nervous system with that one. So just kind of releasing again, and you can stay here again in this cross-legged position or moving to a kneeling position if you need to kind of change your position. I'll do a few more here. Actually, I'll go ahead and move to a kneeling position for this next one. We're going to do a little rotation of the spine now. You can make yourself comfortable. We'll just start out with some gentle twist of the spine. You can let the arms swing and come around to the back of the back and to the side as we gently rotate the spine. And then releasing the arms. And we're going to do a movement with the arms overhead, but for this one, if this puts tension on your neck. Just keep the arms down, perhaps on your hips. And on this one, we'll inhale, finding length in the spine. As you exhale, gently twisting towards the right. And you'll inhale back to center. Exhale, gently twisting towards the left and looking over the left shoulder. If you'd like to use the arms in the movement too, you can inhale the arms up overhead with the inhalation. Exhale, twisting to the right. Inhale, the arms rise with the inhalation, and exhaling into the twist. Just moving along at the pace of your own breath here. And the last one here. Next exhalation, dropping both of the arms towards the ground. Let's do a shoulder stretch here. So we're going to inhale the arms up overhead one more time. And as you get up to the top, you're going to grab the right elbow with the left hand. And then gently stretching the body over towards the left, getting a stretch up the entire right side of the body. And as you inhale, kind of releasing back, finding that length in the spine, and you can exhale, exhaling as you let go into the stretch. Inhale, finding that length in the spine, and exhaling into the stretch. And inhale back up. You can lift both hands up overhead. We'll switch sides. Now grabbing that left elbow with the right hand. You can even reach for that right shoulder blade with that left hand, and gently stretching towards your right side here. Feeling the stretch up the entire left side of the body now. And again with this, you can, as you inhale, releasing the stretch a little, keeping that length and finding more length in the spine, and exhale, letting go into the stretch. And last breath here. And inhale. You can lift the arms up overhead, gentle back bend, lifting the gaze up towards the ceiling, and then exhale, arms gently floating down towards the ground. You can make any final movements of the shoulders or the neck that feels good here. We're shaking out the arms. We're gonna do a cat-cow. We're gonna do it starting out here from the seated position. And this could be kneeling, or you could be sitting cross-legged or in the chair. You can also move to your hands and knees. We're eventually gonna move to the hands and knees for this. So on this one, as you inhale, you're gonna go ahead and pull the elbows back as you lift the gaze upward, expanding the chest. And as you exhale, pulling the belly button in towards the spine as you arch forward, pulling the chin in towards the chest. The elbows come forward. Inhale, belly releases, gaze lift upward, chest expands, elbows go back. Exhale, pulling the belly in towards the spine, gently curving forward, chin in towards the chest, elbows coming forward. Inhale. Exhale. You can just stay with that if you're in the chair. Otherwise, you can go ahead and move to your hands and your knees on the mat. And we'll take it just a little bit deeper here. So the shoulders are over the hands and the hips are over the knees. And now as you inhale, belly drops towards the ground, the gaze lifts upward, and then exhale. Again, pulling that belly button in towards the spine as you arch the back up towards the ceiling. Inhale, dropping the belly towards the sky, tilting the pelvis forward as the gaze lifts. Exhale, pulling the belly button in towards the spine, arching the spine up towards the ceiling, chin in towards the chest. Just moving along at the pace of your own breath. You can start out small with this and then gently deepening the movement. If you're in the chair, doing a similar motion with it in the chair, with getting that pelvic tilt, that expansion of the chest on the inhalation, and then stretching the back body with the exhalation. And then coming back to a neutral spine. We'll go ahead and shift the weight forward towards Cobra. And then as you exhale, bringing the weight of the hips back towards the heels for child's posture. We're going to hold here, so you can place a blanket behind the hips if the hips don't quite come to the heels, and letting the forehead just settle on the ground, feeling the weight of the head against the ground. And you can stretch the arms out long, or you can bring the hands back so that they're by the ears, if that feels better for the shoulders and the neck. And just staying there in child's posture, taking a few breaths. And for those who are in the chair with this one, you can do a child's posture also. If you have a blanket present, you can place it in your lap and do a similar inhale, expanding the chest, and then exhale, bringing the forehead down to either your thighs or to the blanket. Whether you're in the chair or on the ground, just resting here for a few breaths, taking some deep breaths here. And with each inhalation, feeling that expansion of the back body. Sensing the release with each exhalation. Sensing the weight of the forehead against the floor or against the towel. Sensing the expansion of the rib cage with the inhalation. And the release with the exhalation. I'll take one more breath here. Fully sensing the breath in the body. And then gently pressing up with the hands, pushing up to a seated position. And if you're on the mat, you can place the blanket underneath your hips if you'd like to. Slightly elevate the pelvis again, and we'll stretch the legs out long. And just gently engaging the feet, feeling that engagement outward from the body with the feet. And then we'll just start to roll the ankles. And as you roll the ankles, sensing all those connections, up the backs of the legs, into the hips, even into the lower back. And you can do this in the chair also. If you're in the chair, just stretching the legs out, gently rotating the ankles and changing directions if you haven't. And then pointing and flexing the toes. We sometimes do this lying on the ground with the feet up. This is just a different position to be doing it from, similar movement. And then releasing, we're gonna rotate the hips from the seated position. So you'll we'll start with the left side, just letting that left foot rotate out towards the left and then back towards center. And then again, letting that left foot roll out as that left hip rotates open and then back to center. You can move with the breath again here. And then now going to the right side, we'll let that right foot fall out to the right, opening that right hip and then coming back towards center. So you're kind of windshield wiping that right foot back and forth, gently rotating that right hip. And releasing, we're gonna go ahead and spread the legs wide now. So I'm gonna turn around so I'm on the screen here. You can stay elevated a little bit on the blanket if that helps. Gently tilting the pelvis forward and gently engaging the feet, feeling that engagement outward, away from the center of the body. We'll press the fingertips into the ground behind us, using the fingertips to find length in the spine and finding that length from the tailbone all the way up through the crown of the head. As you inhale, finding length, and as you exhale, just gently hinging forward at the hips. And then we'll inhale, releasing, coming back up, finding that length. Exhale, hinging forward and feeling that stretch up the backs of the legs. Inhale, releasing back, finding length in the spine. Exhale, hinging forward. And you can walk the hands forward here too. And same thing in the chair. If you're in the chair, just extending the legs out wide here. Just being gentle with the body here, but gently pushing, seeing where the stretch is going to go for you today. And pressing with the hands back up. We'll go ahead and shift now to our right. So the right hand will be out to your right side of that right leg and the left hand on the inside. And then again, inhale, finding length in the spine, and exhale, gently hinging over that right leg. You'll inhale, releasing and finding length in the spine again, and exhale, gently hinging forward. With each exhalation, inviting that hamstring perhaps to let go just a little bit more. And then pressing your way back up to seated, we'll turn back towards center and then rotating around facing that left leg and left foot. Placing the hands out on either side of the legs, or if you're in the chair, you can use the chair to kind of stabilize your upper body. And as you inhale, finding length in the spine, and as you exhale, hinging forward. Inhale, finding length in the spine. Exhale, inviting that release with the stretch. And then pressing back up to seated with the hands. We'll go ahead and engage the core and then sliding the legs in together. Again, for staff pose. And again, engaging those feet just real gently outward. You can press the fingertips into the ground again, and we'll inhale, finding that length, and exhale, gently hinging forward. Inhale, releasing, finding length in the spine. Exhale, gentle hinge forward. Inhaling, finding that length in the spine. Exhale, inviting release in the hamstrings. And you can walk the hands forward again if you'd like. If you'd like on this one, you can go ahead and just drape the body forward and feeling that stretch up. Feeling how that stretch migrates up into the upper back and into the neck as you bring the chin in towards the chest. And then gently pushing your way back up, rolling back up to a seated position. And then we'll go ahead and pull our feet in for our Cobblers Pose. So if you're sitting in the chair, just bringing the feet together on the ground and letting the knees fall outward. This is always a good one to just take a moment to kind of massage the balls of the feet, especially if you've been wearing your shoes all day or sitting at a desk. And then releasing there. You can go ahead and press the fingertips into the floor behind you again. Again, as you inhale, finding that length in the spine. Exhale, gently hinging forward, inviting that release in the hips. Inhale, releasing the stretch, finding length in the spine, and exhale, hinging forward. And then you can go ahead and roll back up to a tall seated position again. And we'll go ahead and stretch that left leg out long. And if you're sitting on the ground, you can just bring the sole of the right foot in towards that left thigh. If you're in the chair, you can bring that heel up to the right knee, getting a stretch in this right hip. You can do this on the floor also, bringing the foot up to the top of the thigh if you'd like to. And again, we're going to bend forward. So as you inhale, finding that length in the spine, exhale, gently stretching forward. Inhale, releasing, finding that length again. Exhale, gently hinging forward. Inhaling that length in that space. Exhale, letting go. And on the next inhalation, coming back up, we'll go ahead and stretch the right leg out now and bringing that left, either the left sole of the foot into the thigh or up to the top of the thigh, or if you're in the chair, just bringing that left heel up to the right knee, getting that stretch in that left hip there. We'll inhale, finding our length. Exhale, releasing into the forward fold. Inhale, coming back up again, finding length. Exhale, deepening the stretch. Inhale, releasing the stretch, finding length. Exhale, maybe a little bit deeper. And rolling back up to a tall spine. We're going to go ahead and move down to the ground now. For those of you who are using the yoga mats. And if you're sitting in the chair, perhaps just placing the hand on the chest and the belly for just a moment and connecting with the breath as the rest of us transition to this new position of lying on the ground. Wherever you're at, just sensing the body supported. Completely releasing and letting go of tensions in the body. And if you're lying on the ground, you can pull the knees in towards the chest, giving them a little hug and gently rolling back and forth. And placing the right hand on the right knee and the left hand on the left knee and gently circling the knees away from each other. And you can do this in the chair too, gently just circling the knees as you rotate the hips. And changing directions. And then placing both feet on the ground so that they're about mat width distance apart. If you're lying on the ground, spreading the arms out wide to give you a sense of stability, we're going to windshield wiper the legs back and forth. So whether you're on the ground or the chair, just gently letting the legs drop out first to the left side, coming back towards center, and then gently dropping to the right side, back to center. You can do this with the breath as you inhale, dropping the knees to the side. Exhale, coming back to center. As you drop the knees to the side, perhaps pressing that inside knee down towards the outer corner of the mat, feeling that stretch up the whole side of the body. And then pulling the knees back in towards the chest. You can reach between the legs and grabbing the outside of the feet, coming up to a happy baby and just gently rocking back and forth. If you're in the chair here, you can just spread the legs kind of wide and then gently draping the torso down and letting the hands drop down to the ground. I'm getting a similar stretch here. Making any final movements that feel good before you go to Savasana. So just for those who are in the chair there, for that, while everyone else is doing the happy baby, you could just drape the body between the legs, bringing the hands down to the ground, and then just gently rotating the torso back and forth. And if you're lying on the ground, you can extend the legs out long. You can place a blanket or a pillow behind the knees if you'd like to support the lower back, perhaps placing a blanket or pillow behind the head. Leaving the palms facing upward, letting the feet fall outward, and perhaps covering up with the blanket here too if it is chilly where you're at. And if you're in the chair, finding a comfortable seated position and perhaps tilting the pelvis back and forth, finding a nice neutral spine here, perhaps scooting back a little in the chair, feeling the support of the chair behind you. And if the eyes are open, you can close the eyes or just adopting a soft gaze. Just following my voice as we scan the body. Just settle into just being here, just being as sensation. As you bring the attention to the jaw, as you release the jaw and sensing the upper jaw and the lower jaw. Sensing the teeth and the tongue. Letting the attention shift back to the ears as you sense the left ear, the right ear. Sensing both ears at once. Noticing sensations of sounds that are present. Not searching for sound, but just welcoming in sound as it arrives at the body. Sensing the eyes, the left eye, the right eye. Sensing both eyes at once. Sensing the space around the eyes, the space behind the eyes. Sensing the top of the head, the back of the head. Sensing the neck and the shoulders. Sensing the jaw, the neck, and the shoulders release to gravity. Sensing the arms and the hands release to gravity. Sensing the legs and the feet release to gravity. Sensing all the areas where the body comes in contact with and is supported by the ground or by the chair. Sensing the body as safe and supported. And bringing the attention to the breath. Sensing that expansion with the inhalation and the release with the exhalation. And gentle rise and fall of the chest and of the belly. And now bringing the attention to the heart. Noticing what's present at the heart today. Now bringing to mind that time, that event, or that act this week that brought you that sense of gratitude. Noticing what gratitude feels like in the heart and in the body. Just breathing into that sense of gratitude. If gratitude doesn't feel right for you right now, perhaps bringing to mind something that brought you a sense of strength this week. Fully sensing that in the heart and in the body. And then perhaps bringing to mind that intention for your practice today. Bringing it forth in that first person present tense form again. Beginning to deepen the breath again, sensing the rise and fall of the chest. Welcoming in all the sounds in the room around you. Noticing the sound of your breath. You can begin to bring some gentle movement to the fingers and to the toes, perhaps stretching the arms out overhead, stretching from the fingertips all the way down to the toes. And if you're lying on your back, you can roll over to your side and just resting in the fetal position for a few breaths. And as you're ready, you can gently push your way up to a comfortable seated position. Just noticing the thoughts that are now present and the sensations that are now present in the body. And perhaps bringing the hand back to the heart and just sensing that sense of gratitude again at the heart. If the eyes are closed, you can open the eyes, bringing in sensations of light and color and shapes in the room. It's arriving fully present in this moment, just as it is. And gonna